Since health education and communication is for 10 marks, I'm going to tell all the high yield stuff as soon as possible. So, what is the flow of information? Sender, message, channel, receiver, and feedback. Don't mess up this order. First is the sender, then the message goes through a channel, reaches the receiver, who will in turn give feedback. Done. Now, what are the types of communication? This is a very weird classification. It can be either one way or two way. This is the crux of this chapter. One way communication is also known as didactic. Now it says di, but it's not two way. Didactic means one way. You would have heard our profs say didactic lecture. It should not be a didactic lecture. What they mean by that is they want you also to interact. If one person is just talking and others are zoning out, that becomes didactic. Whereas two-way communication is socritic. I was looking at MCQs and I was like, what is this socritic method? Nothing. If two people talk to each other, that is socritic method of communication. That's all. Okay, don't think too much. Then it can also be verbal or non-verbal. Non-verbal is like your sign language and stuff. Another classification is formal, non-formal and visual. Under non-formal communication, you have something called grapevine, which is so funny. If we see something and go gossip to our friends about it, that's called grapevine, it seems. It has no structure, it just goes randomly. That is types of communication. For namesake, you look at the headings. Now, the issue with health education is there's so many new terms that we don't know the meaning of. So we'll quickly look at all the new terms. Like I said, didactic means one-way talking. It's a one-way communication. Example, chalk and talk. Who is this chalk and talk? It's what our profs do, or rather what our school teachers did. They would keep the chalk and just talk. TV, newsprint. You can't talk back to the TV or newspaper unless you're into that stuff. Socritic, again, Socritic means two-way communication. Two-way doesn't mean only two people are involved, by the way, okay? If somebody talks and somebody responds, that becomes a two-way communication. Under this, we have FGD or focused group discussions, symposiums, and panel discussion. Focused group discussions, it comprises of 6 to 12 people. And as you can see here, it enforces health, behavior, and attitudes. Now, this chapter is for 10 marks. They can ask anything. So, we should just learn one line about each thing, and after that, we can write whatever we want. I've put down only the main lines. So, at least try to remember this so that you can fill up the page. So, focus group discussions promote health, behavior, and attitudes. Next, symposium. It is just a series of speeches. So sometimes they'll take us to lecture hall 1. Some expert will come and talk on something, then one more expert will come and talk, then we'll get bored. That is symposium. But why is it under Socritic method? Because at the end of the speech, they will ask us questions. Okay, so it becomes interactive. 4 to 8 panelists will sit on the stage. There will be a chairperson, or else, people will start fighting. And they will just share their thoughts. It's like going out for chai with your friends. Everyone will say what they have in mind, and somebody else might agree and add on to it. Somebody might counter it. So when the audience looks at that discussion, they get so many ideas and inspiration, and they are likely to take away that message. Okay, so in a panel discussion, 4 to 8 people should be there. And here it says no order, no agenda, which means it's not a scripted play. Rather, it just happens impromptu. So didactic, Socritic methods done. What is Delphi? I love this concept. Basically, they'll get some people to come and they will make them fill a survey anonymously, like a Google form or something. So they don't know who's filling what. Then there is a moderator. Let's put the moderator in pink, who will tell everyone what all results they got. What all was told in the Google forms. And these guys just get to think about it. They're like, what do I think? So there's no pressure to perform. You just have to listen to other opinions and brood over it. After this, they'll give one more Google form and the moderator will again read it out. So at the end of few rounds of this, everybody kind of comes to a consensus. What do you mean by consensus? Everybody comes to an agreement that, okay, this is good, Anta, without fighting or, in a very civil manner. Isn't this such a beautiful concept? So this we can describe it as systematic interactive forecasting method. It is systematic. It is interactive because they are interacting indirectly. Forecasting, which means You're trying to predict what the final outcome will be. So let's say one person is saying lifestyle modifications actually suck, I don't want to exercise. Somebody else is saying exercise changed my life. So this person is like, wait a minute, maybe I should consider that. So that is forecasting. Delphi, done. Gather approach, I had posted an MCQ on this. It is greet, ask, tell, help, explain, return. First, when they come into your OPD, you greet them, ask what's up. In detail, you elicit what is their knowledge on the topic. Then you tell them what you want to tell. Then you help them out, explain how that works, and ask them to return for follow-up. Okay? Pretty easy. This is a method of counseling used in family planning and stuff. Next, what else is there? Workshop. What's a workshop? It is imparting training through more than 4 meetings. So a workshop can only be successful if there's more than 4 meetings. In 1 hour, nobody can finish a workshop and just send you off forever. We have a lot of workshops conducted every now and then, like workshops for basic life support. How does that work? In one part of it, they might just sit and explain. In one part, they might demonstrate. They might make you do it. So they are imparting training through meetings. FGD is done, focus group discussions, promoting health behavior and attitudes. Panel discussion also done. Role play, aka our favorite. They depict human relationships. So if somebody is illiterate, role play makes it relatable and it gives them something to connect with their own life, right? That's the highlight of role play. Baki, you write whatever else comes to your mind. And the ideal size is supposed to be 25 people for this, it seems. What is a demonstration? It is rooted in the fact that seeing is believing. When you see something, it goes and sits in your head and you start believing it. So they actually demonstrate stuff. What have I said? I've just said some approaches to communication. Communication done. Now let's look at health education. Here there are 4 approaches. You can remember with the stupid mnemonic SHARP. S for service approach. You just go and provide service at people's doorsteps. An example for this would be our field visits. We go there and we just provide services. We say, Ajji, can I take your BP? Right? So service approach. H is for health education approach. You just slowly start educating them. Hey, do you know about this? Do you know how this works? Can I tell you how it works? A is just for a vowel. R is for regulatory approach. It's called managed prevention. This, you do something at the legislative level so that people get educated in times of emergency. Like what was done to explain to people about wearing masks, sanitizer, quarantine, etc. during COVID. So that would be a regulatory approach. Lastly, primary healthcare approach means it's a radically new approach. It involves community and intersectoral coordination. So members within the community, if they say something, you're more likely to listen to it than a third person. SHARP would be service, health education, regulatory, and primary healthcare approach. What are the principles of health education? So there's a bunch of adjectives, but let's remember it as teacher and student because this is health education after all. What should be the qualities of a teacher? Let me use a different color. They should motivate you, right? They should set an example. They should have good human relations and they should be leaders. What are the qualities that a student should have? They should show interest, participate, comprehend. Artha aita, they'll ask, no? So comprehension. Learning by doing, meaning you just don't see and leave it, you have to follow it also. You provide feedback and some other miscellaneous things, let's see. Credibility, it has to be from a proper credible source. Only if you're a doctor, they might listen to you. They might not. Reinforcement, it's like once you learn a behavior, you make someone do it again and again so that it becomes a habit. Known to unknown. Let's say you want to educate somebody about hypertension. You cannot directly start talking about antihypertensive drugs. You have to say, do you know what is blood pressure? If they don't know that, you should say, do you know what is blood? Do you know what's a blood vessel? Do you know where your heart is? Right? So from whatever they know, that is basic stuff, you go to the advanced stuff. So these are the principles of health education. Lastly, health education versus propaganda or publicity. Health education means it is actively acquired. Thought process is promoted, which means they won't just come and yap your ear off and go away. They will actually make sure you understand and they'll make you think about it so that you yourself realize the importance. The primitive desire is discipline. Reflective behavior is developed. What is reflection? What happens or what next is there? No? So health education tries to do that. It appeals to reason. You try to make the people see the reason behind what you're doing. It develops individuality and personality. Knowledge is acquired by self reliant activity. The process is behavior centered. In other words, health education is based on the principle that your life is in your hands, your decisions are in your hands. So it will just nudge you in the right direction. What about health propaganda? Knowledge and skills are instilled in minds. It's like you have to do this. Ashte. Promotion of thought process is absent. Primitive desires aroused. Behavior developed is reflexive behavior, not reflective. Reflexive means, okay, I come back home, I have to wash my hands. Why are you washing your hands? No reflection. You do it, do it. It appeals to emotion. So health propaganda will be like, I'll give you a good example for this. You know that Mukesh Gutka ad that plays before every movie? That would be health propaganda because they are trying to fearmonger you. They're trying to say, look, do you want this to happen to you? Do you want your daughter to lose her dad? Then please stop smoking. But that's not the way, right? That's not very efficient. So if they're playing with emotion, that becomes health propaganda. It develops attitude behaviors. It's like a passive spoon feeding. And the process is information centered. Last few points. What's the difference between counseling and advice? In counseling, the choice is given to the clients. You provide them with all the information, nudge them in the right direction, and then you say, it's up to you. Advice is like muft gyan. Okay. There is no choice given. Now, what is mass media? I hope I don't have to explain this. It's just your TV, radio, news, all of that. The advantage is that you cater to a large population at once. Disadvantage is that it is impersonal and didactic. So this is not everything that there is in health education, but I'm sure if you watch this, you can at least get 8 or 9 out of the 10 marks. Thank you.